Hey players, it's time to grab your tea and have a seat. Let's discuss politics, crime, celebrity gossip, investigative reporting. Welcome to The Real Tea with Double D on GSMC Podcasting Network, where I am black and the news is always petty as hell, but it's accurate.
Hey players, welcome to a brand new episode of The Real Tea with Double D. Of course, I am Double D, and we're on the GSMC Podcasting Network. So excited to be with you all tonight to record a brand new episode. So sorry that I was late, honey. Don't blame me. Blame the Louisiana bipolar ass weather. I declare, honey, what a disgrace, baby. When I tell you them lights went out at 9:45, they went out at 9:45, honey. I didn't think I was going to get here, but I said better late than never, because anybody that was planning on watching or listening could definitely come and watch the playback. So I thank each and every single one of you out there in Facebook and YouTube world that are watching live, and everyone in podcasting world that are streaming this. I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much for downloading every week, honey. We got a jam-packed show. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as I possibly can, honey, because it's 10:30 and it's almost time for me to hit the sack. Well, I don't go to bed till 2 a.m., but don't be talking about that. I don't go to bed till 2 a.m. every single night, honey. After I get done with all my stuff, I have to clean up my house, get my kids' stuff ready for school the next day, get my stuff ready for school to work the next day. Honey, I have a lot of things to do. So every night when I turn off these phones and do what I got to do, honey, it's a lot I got to do here at home. So I don't go to bed till 2 a.m. But anyway, honey, y'all go ahead and grab y'all tea and have a seat. We're not going to prolong this. Remember, out in YouTube and Facebook world, so glad that y'all are here. But I'm recording this for my podcast, so I won't be able to interact with you as much as I want to. But I'm so glad that you all are here. And thank you all out there in podcasting world for riding and flying with me one more again. Y'all go ahead and grab y'all tea and have a seat. Let's talk about, please, Mr. Jailer, won't you let George Santos free? Baby, it's time to talk about George. I'm just a boy in a dress, Santos. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. Baby, when I tell you it's been a pretty hard day for George, I'm just a boy in a dress, Santos. Honey, he done been arrested, taken into custody by federal authorities, honey. He's been arraigned in front of the judge. He probably was shaking like a leaf on a tree, honey, because he wasn't sure if his ass was gonna get out. Now, this is the first time that I've seen a lawmaker that has been indicted. Unfortunately, this is the first time that we've seen a lawmaker get indicted, actually have a bond, honey. But George Santos was indicted on those 13 counts, and they gave him a bond of $500,000. He had to surrender his passport, and he has to let them know anytime he is leaving the state of New York or Washington. I declare, honey, what a disgrace, baby. That's some pretty strict restrictions for somebody, like I said, like a lawmaker. They typically don't have any type of restrictions. They typically don't have a bond, honey. They usually are released on their own recognizance, sort of like what Frumpy to the motherfucking dump did. But I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. They probably did George I'm just a boy in a dress Santos like that because, baby,
he did that shit. Guilty.
He did that shit. He's guilty as fuck. Oh, yes, honey. He did. But let's go through his charges real quick, and then we'll talk about the fact that George Santos is being defiant. He said that he is not going to resign. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So George, I'm just a boy, George Santos is facing 13 charges in the United States District Court of the Eastern District of New York. They are charging him with 7 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 1 count of theft of public funds, and 2 counts of making materially false statements to the House of Representatives. I declare, honey, What a disgrace. Honey, I'm pretty sure if they keep on digging, baby, there's going to be more to come down the pipeline, honey. But that is what Georgia, I'm just the born address Santos is charged with. This is what they are alleging in their indictment. Really quickly, we'll go through because I have a detailed video on my page that y'all can look at. So the first scheme described by prosecutors are alleging that George Santos false represented false represented himself to get donations from people, and then he used those donations for himself, for his personal use, honey. He hired a consultant firm. He told them to tell the donors that these donations were going to be used for his political ambitions to become a House of Representative member. And when those people would make those donations, he would allegedly wire that money into his account of an LLC that he owned, honey. So that is the 5 counts of wire fraud and 3 counts of unlawful monetary transactions. That money was specifically um, for his campaign, and he was using it for personal use. And there's also a part in there where they're saying that he would solicit larger donations from these individuals that was legally allowed by the FEC. One person he got $25,000 from, and according to reports, and he wasn't supposed to receive that much money from that particular person. You know, different levels can donate different amounts of money according to the FEC. And Georgia, I'm just a born address Santos did that several times. Now, the second set of accusations concerned George Santos allegedly applying for unemployment benefits when he was employed. They say in March of 2020, honey, George Santos was employed as an uh, director of an investment firm based out of Florida, but he filed unemployment benefits in New York, honey. And he received about $24,000 worth of unemployment benefits, even though he was gainfully employed. Well, it was $24,744. Again, though he claimed in the application he had been unemployed since March of 2020, according to prosecutors, he was employed at that investment firm, and he was receiving $120,000 salary. He was allegedly receiving regular deposits and exceptions, with the exception of one period in July and August of 2020, honey. He was employed with that firm from February 2020 to mid-April of 2021, and he repeatedly filed for unemployment benefits where he received $24,744. I declare, honey. What a disgrace. George, I'm just a born address Santos. You make me sick. So the third false statements that George of just born address Santos is accused of is making financial disclosures in that he filed in the House that led to 2 additional counts. Now, when you run for office, you have to do these financial disclosures, and according to them, George did not fail to file part of a financial of a part of his financial disclosure. He didn't say that he was employed with a particular company. And then also he overstated the money that he was actually receiving from his businesses. Now, y'all know George made a campaign donation to his own campaign of $750,000, honey. Now, we didn't see anything in this indictment that is related to that. I'm wondering if there's going to be some amendments or some changes or some add-ons to this thing, honey, because baby, George did loan his campaign $750,000, and it's looking like he had absolutely no way to attain those funds. I mean, he was only making $120,000 at his job. We know he had no credit. I mean, unless he was lying on credit, I really don't know, honey. But there's nothing in this indictment that pertains to that. So we are definitely going to be watching to see what comes out in the Washington election, honey. If that $750,000 enters the chat, it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, for George, baby, he has been running around here pulling a frumpy to the motherfucking dump. Now, the first thing he did when he got out of the clink was he got onto social media, honey, and he started, of course, grifting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, grifters gone grift on the Black Your News channel. Oh, yes, 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 honey. He started grifting. He asked his people. I had that tweet, but I don't have it anymore. It must have went away when the lights went out. But anyway, he stated in that tweet that that this is a witch hunt and that he's asking for donations from people so that he can fight this, honey. I declare, what a disgrace. Now, when he walked out of the courtroom, this is what he had to say to the media that was outside.
You guys, look, this is the beginning of the ability for me to address and defend myself. We have an indictment. We have the information that the government wants to come after me on, and I'm going to comply. I've been complying throughout this entire process. I have no desire not to comply at this point. They've been gracious in there. Now I'm going to have to go and fight to defend myself. The reality is it's a witch hunt, because it makes no sense that in 4 months, 5 months, I'm indicted. You have Joe Biden's entire family receiving deposits from nine family members receiving money from foreign destinations into their bank accounts. It's been years of exposing. A lot of you here have reported on them, and yet no investigation is launched into them. I'm gonna fight. I'm getting back to that. I'm gonna fight my battle. I'm gonna deliver. I'm gonna fight the witch hunt. I'm gonna take care of clearing my name, and I look forward to doing that.
I declare, honey. What a disgrace. So he went on to say they asked him about the COVID-19 related unemployment benefits that he received. And he said during the pandemic, it wasn't very clear. I don't understand where the government's getting their information, but I will present my facts. My unemployment was changed during that time. My employment was changed during that time. I don't understand where the government is coming from. When a reporter asked George Santos what evidence he had, he said that he has plenty of evidence that he will be sharing with the government in this case to make sure that he can defend his innocence. Now, George did, I would say, cooperate with the FEC because they did ask him to amend his FEC filings, and he did. He actually amended 36 campaign donations. He amended those, and that still wasn't enough for the government. They was able to find more where George, I'm just in a boy in a dress, Santos had did some shady shit according to the government, honey. So they are alleging that even though he did change 36 of his FEC filings, honey, his donations, he still had several that are currently under scrutiny, and according to the government, honey, they were illegal. They not pussyfooting around with George, I'm just a boy in a dress, Santos. I know he loves frumping to the motherfucking dump, but you ain't him. You ain't him, my guy. So I don't know what you up to, but this is ridiculous and a hot bullshitty mess.
Well, look, the way I look at it, I'll be a chairman of a committee in a couple of years if you just look at the standards of Congress. Look at the Senate.
Are you planning on running for re-election?
Yes, I am.
And why should anybody believe you now?
Well, like I said, I will prove myself innocent, and then we'll move from there. And re-election is a very far time away from that.
I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So you heard him. He said that he is going to run for re-election. He is not planning on resigning. And according to Kevin McCarthy, he is not going to be forced to resign. According to House rules, if a member is charged with criminal conduct as a felony that carries more than 2 or more years in prison, they should resign from their committees and step aside from party leadership until legal proceedings result in an acquittal or a dismissal, or if the charges are reduced to less than a felony. Of course, we know George Santos has already stepped down from his committees and he doesn't hold any leadership role. So according to House rules, honey, he doesn't have to do that. But the top charge of the wire fraud that he is facing is a maximum of 20 years in prison, honey. So he's facing some very serious crimes, and the judge can decide to make those sentences run concurrently if George Santos is convicted on those multiple counts. So this is very serious. And George Santos said he's going to run for re-election. Now listen, re-election will be next year for him, I believe. This thing probably won't be done went to trial by then. So there's going to be nothing to disqualify him. Now I will listen. it's going to be very hard for me to believe with everything that's come out with George Santos that he will get reelected in New York. It's going to be very interesting to see what New Yorkers do from his district. But honey, if they do, baby, that look. This is ridiculous and a hot boo boo shitty mess, baby. Anybody can get elected if George, I'm just a born George Santos, is re-elected, but he is not stepping down. He says he is innocent. He's pled not guilty. He's had to surrender his passport and he cannot travel beyond New York and Washington. He needs permission to do so. And if he does, he has to go back to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. He's out on a $500K bond and he's expected back in court on June 30th. George, I'm just a born of George Santos. I declare, honey, you're ridiculous and a hot boo boo shitty mess. Players, grab your tea and have a seat. We're moving on. So in my video today, when I talked about the situation with George, I'm just a boy in a dress Santos, I also brought up the fact that the that House Republicans were holding press conferences today to release this bombshell report that's supposed to show that President Biden was guilty of all of these illicit crimes. At least what they're describing it as, the Biden family received all of this money and blase skip and all this kind of stuff, and that nobody wants to investigate it. In fact, you heard George Santos actually referred to that, saying that all of this stuff has come out, but about the Biden crime family, and nobody has investigated. Well, honey, they released their 87-page report today. We're going to briefly go through it and talk about it. Jamie Raskin let them have it on the House floor, honey, and we're going to take a look. So let's put this up here. So basically, this is what they were alleging that the Biden, the crime family of the Bidens have received. Now, who's the president of the United States? Before I begin this, who's the president of the United States? Now, if I remember correctly, honey, if I'm correct, it would be President Biden. According to Frump to the motherfucking dump, honey, it would be him. But I digress, honey. So so basically the Republicans have did this 4-month investigation into this is Senate Republicans have did this 4-month investigation into corruption allegations against President Biden. Now, if you look at this chart I have on the screen, I'm sorry, podcasters, you can't see it. Do you see President Biden's face anywhere on this photo? I don't think that you do. Of course, at the top we have Hunter Biden. I just have to go ahead and keep it a stack, honey. Hunter Biden was doing some crazy shady things. We cannot move away from that. But Hunter Biden does not work for us. He don't work for us. So at the end of the day, man, him doing these things, that ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't work for me. He doesn't work for me. He's not employed by President Biden. There's no nepotism going on. He isn't anywhere near the 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 government in any type of related job like the Ivanka Trump and Jared and all them were. So I really don't care about this stuff, honey. But they say that it was going to be some type of bombshell report. So they were investigating allegations that President Biden and his son Hunter Biden were involved in they were investigating whether they involving Ukraine. This investigation was involving Ukraine, and they found no evidence of improper influence or wrongdoing by President Biden when he was the vice president. And they closed out their inquiry. Its leaders had hoped would tarnish the Democrat presidential nominee. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So the investigation found that Hunter Biden had cashed in on his father's name to close lucrative business deals around the world. It concluded that his work with this holding company, a Ukrainian energy company, was deeply corrupted, honey. While the former vice president was directing American policy toward I don't know this word, Kiev, They said given the appearance of a conflict of interest, and it alarmed the State Department officials. But the 87-page report summing up the findings released jointly by the Senate Homeland Security and Finance Committees contained no evidence that President Biden improperly manipulated American policy toward Ukraine or committed any other misdeed. In fact, investigators heard testimony that rebutted those charges. The Homeland Security panel, Republican chairman Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, had made little secret that the political ambitions for his report, boasting for weeks that the findings would demonstrate President Biden's unfitness for office. Instead, the result delivered today appeared to be a little more than a rehashing session of old and fake news, honey. It just didn't make any sense what they were saying. In the days before its release, Ron Johnson actually conceded in an interview that there was no massive smoking gun, saying that there was a misconception on the part of the public that there would be any bombshell reporting regarding President Biden being involved in Hunter Biden's dealings. Now, this is what Republicans had to say today when they were talking about this bombshell report.
The bank records show the Biden family, their associates, and their companies received over $10 million from foreign nationals and their companies. Some of that money came from a Chinese company and went to Hunter Biden's company. Other transfers occurred with the help of Rob Walker, who then sent it on to different Biden family members. This is not how lawful businesses operate. Chinese nationals affiliated with the Bidens created limited liability companies in the United States, and then in a short period of time transferred their interest to a Chinese company that sent money to the Bidens.
So, with that being said, honey, this is the whole thing. They never once said President Biden received this. Now, they did allude to the fact that they felt that President Biden had to know that Hunter Biden was doing all of this shady stuff when he was when President Biden was vice president. That's what they alluded to. But Jamie Raskin had something for him, honey.
Nobody should think, by the way, that this movement is striking a blow against global elites, which we've heard a lot about today. If you're interested in that, you should join our investigation into Donald Trump and Jared Kushner, who brought home $2 billion, not million, $2 billion from Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates for a company he created the day after the Trump administration ended. So don't talk to me about global elites. That's the Trump family business, trafficking in global elites and their businesses. And he collected millions of dollars in unconstitutional foreign emoluments from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Egypt, a whole bunch of countries that patronized his hotels and his golf courses. So I don't want to be lectured to by anybody about global elites, because I was here for the 4 years of the Trump administration. Now, my friend...
I'm so glad Jamie Raskin is doing better. And I love whenever he gets on it, baby, because when I tell you he will hand it to the Republicans, he will hand it to the Republicans, honey. So, of course, the Frump and Dump campaign quickly promoted the explosive new revelations, zeroing in on the financial records obtained by the senators that showed that Hunter Biden received large sums of money, sometimes as large as 6 figures, from foreigners in China, Russia, and elsewhere while his father was in office. They amounted to stunning levels of corruption and breathtaking breaches of the American national security. That's according to Frump and Dump in his campaign, honey. But Democrats have accused the Republicans of cherry-picking their findings. All 10 witnesses interviewed by investigators, they noted, had testified that neither President Biden nor anyone else had altered American policy because of Hunter Biden. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Hunter Biden and what they feel like Hunter Biden was up to. Quite frankly, I do not. Quite frankly.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
We don't. We do not care, honey. Now, y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat, honey, because we are moving on. We have a story coming out of Louisiana that I wanted to talk about. New Orleans. This man, Mr. Patrick Brown, was freed after 29 years in a Louisiana prison for a grape. The victim insisted that he did not commit, honey. He has remained steadfast over 20 years that he did not commit this egregious crime. So, a Louisiana man, Mr. Patrick Brown, has walked free after having spent nearly 3 decades behind bars for a grape. The victim herself has long insisted that he did not commit. Patrick Brown, 49, was convicted in 1994 of aggravated grape in a case involving his 6-year-old stepdaughter in Orleans Parish. Now, but the girl never testified, and Brown's conviction was based on adults testifying to what they believed that she had said. That's according to the Orleans Parish District Attorney. The woman is now an adult and has been steadfast over the years that for the past 20 years that Mr. Brown was innocent and that evidence cooperated the victim's account. The judge released Brown on Monday. Attorney Kelly Owens said that her client never lost hope that he'd be free someday. She overheard him telling the courthouse bystander that his freedom isn't a stroke of luck. He said to somebody, "This isn't like winning the lottery. This is an act of Jesus Christ." He said he has never lost hope this would happen, largely due to his faith in God. District Attorney Jason Williams said that it was disheartening to know that the victim's words were not taken seriously and that Brown wasn't her attacker and hadn't been heated for so many years. So I'm glad Mr. Patrick Brown is free. He said that he said that he's now trying to learn the new technology. He's focusing on spending time with his previous stepdaughter and making up for the last 3 decades that they were not able to be together. She had been visiting him at the Louisiana State Penitentiary maximum security facility in Angola, and they plan to pick up on that father-daughter relationship that they had. That's great news. I just wanted to bring that to you guys. 29 years in prison, and said that he did not do it, and the victim said that he not do it. I'm wishing him much success in his future, and I hope that he and his stepdaughter remain close. All right, players, grab your tea and have a seat. We're moving on. Baby, this CNN, honey. When I tell you CNN done fucked up the church's money, CNN done fucked up the church's money, honey. I'm not sure what they were thinking when they brought Frumpy Dump up there for that town hall, honey, but he started off with the election lies. It was absolutely ridiculous and a hot bullshitty mess. The things that he were saying, he called the lady, Miss Caitlin Collins, a nasty woman, baby. It sounds like he been listening to Eric Mays, honey, because he called her, "You're just a nasty woman." I declare, honey, what a disgrace. But she wasn't backing down from him. She did try to hold her own against Frumpy Dump, but baby, the lies was just coming out of him. She tried to back him into the corner. He talked crap about Eugene Carroll. I mean, he ought to get enough. I mean, him opening his mouth about Eugene Carroll already cost him $5 million, but he just won't stop. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So I done put together some highlights of what happened tonight on CNN.
Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically. We got 12 million more votes than we had in, as you know, in 2016. I actually say we did far better in that election. Got the most that anybody's ever gotten. Is it when you look at that result and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happens. A lot of the people A lot of the people in this audience, and maybe a couple that don't, but most people understand what happened. That was a rigged election, and it's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it.
Said there, though, it was not a rigged election. It was not a stolen election. You and your supporters lost more than 60 court cases on the election. It's been nearly 2.5 years. Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
It's a very sad thing for our country. I think it's a very sad thing, frankly, for the world.
A lot of questions about the economy and foreign policy tonight, but what you just said there, Republican officials debunked those claims about fraudulent ballots. We want to give you a chance tonight.
Who?
Republican officials in Georgia and every single state. There is no your own election officials, Mr. President. So we wanted to give you a chance.
People were afraid to take on the issue. Government cameras, you'll see them. People going to 28 different voting booths to vote, to put in 7 ballots apiece.
But Mr. President,
and they're all
I
on
have
camera.
to stop you there because there is no evidence of that. Your own election officials testified to that and have said that Republicans in these states did this. In Georgia, there were multiple recounts, including a hand recount. When you've talked about the 2020 election results in the past, you once suggested terminating the Constitution. Do you stand by those comments?
No. You were able to do certain things. I'm not talking about terminating the Constitution. I'm talking about cherishing the Constitution. The Constitution says that we're supposed to have legal and well-maintained and well-looked-at elections, and we didn't have that.
No evidence of that election fraud. You did once tweet.
You're supposed to say that, but I'm glad you say that. But look,
that was a
horrible election. That was a horrible election, and unless somebody's very stupid, and I know you very well, you're not stupid at all, but you perhaps are given an agenda or you have an agenda. Look.
Do you have any regrets about your actions on January 6th?
Well, January 6th was, again, we go back to it, but January 6th had to do with the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, and you don't see the pictures very often. A lot of the people here probably were there. January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. That was prior to the walk down to the Capitol building. I don't think, and I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I've never spoken to a crowd as large as this. And that was because they thought the election was rigged. And it was a beautiful day.
Windows, they were hitting officers with flagpoles, tasing them, beating them up. When it was clear they weren't being peaceful, why did you wait 3 hours to tell them to leave the Capitol? They listened to you like no one else. You know that.
They do. I agree with that. But
so why didn't you tell them to go home sooner?
Nancy Pelosi and the mayor are in charge. I made a video right outside the Oval Office in the Rose Garden, and I'm very proud of that video. I did.
But I think the reason the timeline is so critical here, because going back to your influence, in that 3 hours, over 140 officers were injured that day.
And a person named Ashley Babbitt was killed.
Yes.
You know what? She was killed, and she shouldn't have been killed. And that thug that killed her, there was no reason to shoot her.
To you is, will you pardon the January 6th rioters who were convicted of federal offenses?
I am inclined to pardon many of them. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice man. Her dog, or her cat, was named Vagina. The judge wasn't allowed to put that in. All of these things. But with her, they can put in anything. Access Hollywood. I never met this woman. I never saw this woman.
Can I ask you, given your recounting
your
version? I don't know
who, and I tell you this.
But Mr. President,
are you ready?
Can I
swear on my children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story.
How do you plan to appeal to women voters in New Hampshire who are concerned about the Dobbs decision and how states may change their laws?
It's such a great question, and it was such a great victory, and people are starting to understand it now. You know that they wanted to bring it back to the states, but that was probably the least important part of that victory. Getting rid of Roe v. Wade was an incredible thing for pro-life because I was negotiating with NARA. Do you know what NARA is?
The National Archives.
Extremely left group of people. Extremely left. And I was negotiating with them. All of a sudden, they raided my house. They didn't raid the house of Joe Biden. They didn't raid Obama.
But Joe Biden didn't ignore a subpoena to get those documents back like you did.
And so that's the question. $1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you...
I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So that is what CNN allowed tonight. They allowed Frumpy Dump to come up and do a lot of election lies. The audience were all Republican, honey. They applauded when he called her nasty. They applauded when he talked down to her and called people stupid and all that kind of stuff. So that was a Republican filled audience. It was ridiculous. It was really I did not watch it. I just kind of filtered through and looked for some highlights. I did not support it, but I'm just here to tell you, honey, all he did was talk. I mean, at least from the highlights that I saw, for at least 15 minutes at the beginning, they talked about how the election was stolen. And she kept trying to get him to admit that it wasn't, but he wouldn't do it. And he also talked bad about the Capitol Police. He called the one guy who took out Ashley Babbitt a thug, the police officer. I declare, honey, it's a disgrace. And he also talked about how he would pardon most of the January 6th insurrectionists. How can you say that you love law enforcement, but you say that you're going to pardon the January 6th insurrectionists, some who were guilty of beating police officers, pepper spraying them, chasing them around? I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, he did say that there would be some. He said that took things too far, but at the end of the day, honey, the law was the law, and it's ridiculous that a high people should admit they shouldn't have never been there. And like he said that they were there because they believed that the election was stolen. Well, why did they believe that the election was stolen, Frumpy Dump? That would have been my question to him, but Caitlin didn't get to it because Frumpy Dump kept circling back around to all of these things that he claimed has happened, to prove that the election was stolen. But it's all been, over 60 cases have been lost in the courts. The election was not stolen. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. All right, players. So that's what happened on the town hall tonight, honey. CNN is definitely getting drugged all over the internet streets, honey. And I'm here for it all. Y'all grab your tea and have a seat. We have one more, honey, and then we getting out of here. All right. So a Grand Rapids School District staff has went ahead and issued a backpack ban after they found the fourth weapon on a student this year, honey. Baby, they found a weapon today in possession in the backpack of a third grader. Mm, 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 mm. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. A third grader had a weapon and they confiscated that weapon from a third grader. So they say on October 25th, 2022, there was a weapon found in the backpack. On January 18th, 2023, there was a weapon found in a backpack at Burton Middle. We have is Caesar E. Chavez Elementary on May 3rd. They found a weapon in a backpack. And then yesterday at Stockton Elementary, they found a weapon on a third grader. According to them, the staff took immediate action after a student notified administrators. They said that this is as serious as it gets for the school leader. The weapon was also loaded. They are frustrated and angry that less than a week's time they have confiscated more than 2 weapons from elementary school students. This is not okay with me, and it's not okay with our community. We have to come together and do something about the weapons getting into the hands of our babies. We will be a part of the solution. We are taking action as a district, and we are pleading with each member of this community for their support, honey. So they confiscated the weapon, and students at Grand Rapids Public Schools will no longer be able to carry backpacks inside the school buildings. This ban is district wide and will last for the rest of the school year. So this is what they had to say about the ban, and they are looking to parents for them to do something about this situation expeditiously.
You don't even want to know the emotions right now. I'm frustrated. I'm upset, and I'm passionate about keeping our kids safe.
What I will say is that we are enacting immediately, effective immediately, a backpack ban, and that is a drastic step, but we think it's a necessary step because we want to ensure the safety of not only our scholars, but our staff and our community.
Every single parent needs to step up and be a part of this solution. If we are going to have a safe community, and we are committed to being the safest city in the state, we have to work together to do that, and we have to keep guns out of the hands of children.
I'm happy that we didn't have a tragedy, but I'm frustrated that parents are not listening.
All right, players. So again, that backpack ban begins tomorrow in the Grand Rapids School District. It's district-wide. They're asking for parents. Hell, I'm asking the parents. Y'all check y'all children. Why aren't you locking up your weapons? It just doesn't make any sense. How are these children getting access to these weapons and bringing them to school? Baby, I'm sorry, but that's a reflection on the home. That is definitely a reflection on the home. And maybe if some of these parents start getting charged when their children have possessions of weapons like this, then, maybe this won't come up so much. All right, players. Y'all go ahead and grab y'all tea and have a seat. It's time for your favorite game. Players, it's time for another riveting episode of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes. Not players. This was supposed to be my Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes yesterday, but it ended up being my Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes today, honey, because I forgot about it. Baby, I know I'm petty, okay? I know that I am petty. But Cardi B, baby, when I tell you she petty, baby, she pettier than all of us. Because when I tell you she done seized $640 from Tasha K, they say she seized $640 from Tasha K. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So according to reports, honey, Radar Online, Cardi B has went ahead and tried to get her money, go ahead and confiscate her money from Tasha K, honey. As we know, Tasha K has been ordered to pay Cardi B over $3 million for defamation, honey. Now, Tasha K don't have that money in the bank. So Cardi B has taken to subpoenaing and garnishing her YouTube account, honey. You know that when you have ads on YouTube, that comes from Google because Google owns YouTube, honey. So she has subpoenaed Google and went ahead and started getting her money. Now, at first, she received a payment of $9,304.81. But this last payment, honey, that she seized from Tasha K was only $640. I declare, what's a disgrace? Baby, Cardi B said, one way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one day. Baby, she said, it's my money and I need it now, baby. She is getting that money expeditiously, honey. So, baby, Tasha K, you played some stupid games with the wrong one, honey, and you are definitely getting your stupid prize. All right, players. I really hope y'all enjoyed this brand new episode of The Real Tea with Double D. I really enjoyed y'all. I thank y'all so much. This girl said, what is it? Big bank take little bank. Oh my God, $640. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. Y'all, I really hope y'all really enjoyed this episode of The Real Tea with Double D. I hope y'all will join me next week. It has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for joining me in YouTube and Facebook world. And I hope you guys enjoyed it out there in podcasting world. Whenever you're in your car, you're listening or whatnot, make sure that you really enjoy this episode. I really appreciate y'all for riding and flying with your girl every single week. And make sure y'all follow me on my social media platforms so that way you can stay up to date with the day-to-day tea. All right, players, I hope y'all have a precious night. Thank y'all so much for staying up. I really appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Thanks for listening to The Real Tea with Double D. Remember to support by following on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And subscribe to the website to keep the tea piping hot at blaccuratenews.com. That's BLAQURA